You know that feeling. The one that creeps in the moment after you said yes, when your chest tightens and your stomach churns. You promised someone something, agreed to a request you barely wanted to entertain, and suddenly, there it is, the gnawing whisper. Why did I do that? You tell yourself it's no big deal. You rationalize it. But deep down, a quiet storm rages. You are standing at the crossroads of who you truly are and who you feel compelled to be. And here lies the paradox. The very mechanism that once protected you, that ensured your safety, connection, or love, now subtly sabotages your life. Saying yes was once your shield. Now it is your cage. Imagine yourself in a room of mirrors. Each yes reflects a version of you bending, shrinking, dissolving a little more until you can hardly recognize your own reflection. You think you are pleasing others, maintaining harmony, keeping the peace. But the truth is quieter, more insidious. You are eroding your own boundaries. You are sacrificing yourself, inch by inch, for the illusion of approval. And the tragedy is that most people will never notice. They will smile at your compliance, thank you for your generosity, and move on while inside, a slow, invisible grief accumulates. This is the paradox. What once saved you, the instinct to say yes, now quietly robs you of your life's fullness. To truly understand this pattern, we must examine it not as a flaw, but as a deeply wired survival strategy. Psychologists call this people-pleasing, a behavioral archetype often rooted in early life dynamics. At its core, it is a sophisticated form of hypervigilance, a nervous system trained to detect potential rejection or disapproval, anticipating the emotional fallout before it even arrives. Many people who develop this pattern have experienced parentification in childhood, where the child takes on adult responsibilities to preserve relational harmony, often mediating parental emotions at the expense of their own. In essence, the child learns, if I manage everyone else's feelings, I will survive. If I assert my own needs, I risk abandonment. This behavioral wiring interacts with the brain's default mode network, the hub of self-reflection and rumination. In people pleasers, the DMN becomes a relentless echo chamber, replaying yes decisions and preemptively imagining the social consequences of every potential no. Over time, the brain reinforces neural pathways that privilege other people's comfort over your authenticity. Philosophically, this aligns with what Carl Jung described as the persona, the mask we present to the world to gain acceptance. But the danger arises when the mask solidifies, when it starts to define your very self, leaving your true desires and instincts buried, ignored, or outright denied. You are not just saying yes to others, you are saying no to yourself. What is the price of this relentless accommodation? It is quiet, invisible, yet profound. Imagine carrying a backpack filled not with objects, but with every unspoken resentment, every unvoiced desire, every moment you silenced your own needs. Each yes adds another weight, and eventually, even small interactions feel like insurmountable burdens. The core fear is simple yet devastating. The fear of rejection, the fear of vulnerability, the fear of being too much. It turns everyday decisions, choosing a restaurant, declining a social invitation, saying no to extra work, into moral dilemmas, as if every boundary will collapse the delicate web of your relationships. Philosophically, this echoes Søren Kierkegaard's notion of the sickness unto death, where the self denies its true essence in pursuit of external validation. Every yes that betrays your own desire is a microcosm of that existential despair, a moment of disconnection from the soul's authentic trajectory. The emotional weight manifests as a constant tension, joy tainted by guilt, freedom shadowed by obligation. Simple life moments like spending a quiet evening alone or voicing a preference are fraught with anxiety, and yet the world outside may never see it. The suffering is yours alone, hidden behind smiles, polite laughter, and acquiescence. As adults, this childhood pattern translates into complex, often self-defeating behaviors. You might not recognize it immediately because it wears the guise of generosity, reliability, and conscientiousness. But look closer. Chronic overcommitment. You sign up for obligations you secretly dread, convincing yourself it's a reflection of your work ethic or loyalty. Difficulty saying no. Even in high-stakes situations, your boundaries crumble because saying no triggers internal alarms honed decades ago. Internalized guilt, every refusal or even minor act of self-interest, is accompanied by disproportionate guilt or shame. Self-sabotaging career moves. You take on work that overwhelms you or accept roles misaligned with your aspirations to maintain approval. Strained relationships, romantic or platonic partnerships suffer because your needs are consistently deferred. Resentment simmers under the surface. Chronic fatigue and emotional drain, your nervous system is in constant high alert, running on hypervigilant autopilot. Emotional exhaustion becomes normalized. These are not personality flaws. They are coping strategies, adaptive, once necessary, now misaligned with your adult life. The crucial step toward liberation is witnessing this pattern without judgment. Observe, this is what my system learned to survive. It is not who I am at my core. Unlearning it requires deliberate attention. Noticing the impulse to say yes reflexively, questioning it, and responding from conscious choice rather than conditioned fear. Healing is neither instant nor simple, but it is profoundly possible. Start with inner child reparenting. Speak to the younger version of yourself who learned to survive through compliance, offering reassurance, safety, and validation. Acknowledge their fear, but gently guide them toward autonomy. Engage in shadow work, identifying the parts of yourself buried under decades of people-pleasing. Invite them to speak, not as critics, but as messengers of unmet needs. Learn to differentiate between compassion and self-erasure, saying yes because it feels right, versus saying yes to avoid conflict. Philosopher Martha Nussbaum writes that true flourishing requires cultivating courage to assert one's own dignity. Healing the people-pleaser is precisely this. Reclaiming dignity, presence, and choice. You are allowed to take up space. You are allowed to breathe. You are allowed to say no. Each step toward authenticity may feel uncomfortable and even frightening, but it is the path toward wholeness. So start today. Witness your yeses and their origins. Reclaim your voice. Choose softness for yourself. And remember, the goal is not to be fixed, but to become whole. In the words of Carl Jung, I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become. You have survived by pleasing others, now survive by honoring yourself. Step into your life with courage, clarity, and compassion, and let your yes mean something, because it comes from you.